Playing with audience assumptions is a big part of your job as a screenwriter. One way to do that is by making the audience think our main characters are safe or have a great plan ahead of them. The funny thing is, as viewers, we subconsciously know the plan can't go completely right, but we still love finding out what happens anyways. But how do you surprise the audience if they know something bad is inevitable? One way is to have a character make an assumption that later turns out to be false. Warning: spoilers for Inglourious Basterds follow. We find out there's going to be a German movie premiere that the top command of the Nazis will attend. British intelligence has a plan to attack at this premiere, with the help of Lieutenant Highcox. He'll need to rendezvous with Bridget von Hammersmark, a German actress who is secretly a double agent for England. She's going to get them into the premiere, but the rendezvous is set at a tavern in France. The first incorrect assumption we see in this sequence is a small one, but still effective. Aldo didn't think the tavern they need to meet at would be in a basement, which is a terrible place to be in if something violent goes down. But we find out this pub is definitely in a basement, which makes our group feel a little trapped. In this scene, Aldo gives Lieutenant Highcox a hard time about this and makes it clear that things have become more dangerous. To highlight this, we also have a short part after where Donnie Donowitz, aka the Bear Jew, also brings up how this plan to meet in a basement is a terrible idea. We, as the audience, haven't even seen the inside of this bar yet, but with just a few lines, we're now more worried about our group. They don't want anyone to question them or talk to them, since that could threaten to blow their cover. Highcox tells us Bridget picked the location because it's isolated and doesn't have Germans. It should be smooth sailing, right? When they arrive at the pub, they are surprised to find that, contrary to what they thought, the place is swarming with German soldiers. Why? Because something unexpected happened. A particular soldier is going to have a baby, so their officer gave them the night off. Something our gang couldn't have seen coming. It's one thing to have an unexpected kink in our heroes' plans make things difficult, but what makes this story choice here work so well is how it's basically the worst thing that could have changed for them. First off, they are outnumbered. If there were only one or two extra soldiers, it may not have been as intimidating for both our characters and the audience. But once we see the number of soldiers hanging out, we instantly get a bit more nervous. This makes things much harder for our heroes, not easier. Their mission was already dangerous to begin with, so now we, the audience, is on edge, worried about the dreadful things that can happen now. This is amplified later when, after the audience is confident they know exactly how many soldiers are there, we're caught off guard after finding out a high-ranking Nazi officer had been lurking in the shadows the entire time. It takes the unexpected surprise of those German soldiers and raises it even higher. The soldiers there were under our group's rank, but this guy? He has an equal ranking, which means he'll be harder to evade. What's also interesting about this development is we don't really blame Highcox or Bridget for this change of events. It's not really their fault, so we don't think of them as being dumb or being idiots. This can be important in making your stories feel more realistic. Sometimes in movies, we see a character get a piece of information so completely wrong, it becomes clear the writer put it in there solely to make things worse for our characters. And when we can see the seams of the writing, it can take us out of the movie. But here, there is a great clarity as to why the room is suddenly filled with enemies. We get an explanation for it, and everything makes sense. This technique may be simple, but it is a giant tool to use in your writing. When mapping out a plan for your heroes, check to see if there is a way for them to make an assumption that changes by the time they get to it. It will startle the audience, startle your characters, and force them to think on their feet. Seeing our heroes needing to scrap their previous plans and come up with something new can enrich a scene, gluing us to the screen and leaving us wondering what will happen next. After all, part of the thrill of movies is constantly being surprised, right? So surprise us. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you want to learn more about screenwriting and see additional examples from movies, go to writelikeseries.com to check out other films that I cover. Be sure to subscribe to this channel to get updates on new videos posted every week. See you then.